Hello, everyone. Welcome back. And the USDA, U.S. Department of Agriculture, has released updated cold hardiness zones through their 2023 USDA plant hardiness zone map. And man, here we go again. I've done a video on this before, and it's time to do another one because they've updated this map. The last version they had, I think, was through 2012. I want to say, so it's a good decade old, and this version, they just released it in the past month. It's 2023 version. I think the data is 30 years, ending in, I don't even know if it says on here, but I think it's 30 years ending in 2020 is when the data pulls in for this report. And a couple of things here. This, I don't know why, but this whole genre or this whole topic really grinds my gears. And so I have a couple of things to note here as we review it. I've done a video on this before, and I'll pull in some of those thoughts and ideas on this. Anyone that's in the plant community, especially like the tropical zone pushing community, certainly knows about this. And it's widely debated and talked about and discussed. And our friend Tennessee Tropics actually dropped this in, Alan dropped this into Palm Talk, International Palm Society's website, which I certainly read. I don't post over there. I'd end up getting in trouble for saying something I shouldn't say over there. So that's why I just don't say anything at all. But it is funny to read some of these comments, man. So yeah, kudos to you, Alan, for dropping this in there. And you always have really good takes on a lot of this stuff. But yeah, at any rate, so what it is, guys, is it's pulling in data from the past 30 years and up through 2020. So what would that have it at? 1970, 1980, I guess that'd be. And, or 1990. Geez, sorry for some bad math here. Any rate, 1990 through 2020. And it looks at the lowest temperature recorded in each of those years. So those 30 years, it looks at the lowest temperature recorded, and it averages them out. And over the course of the averaging, it suggests what zone the USDA has created. And where you fall in there is, based on just different shapes or shades of colors. And that's what you're coded as. So, you can kind of see here across the country all the different shades. Now, first things first, the logistics of this, which I just find it's just mind-numbing that people can't figure this stuff out for themselves. And I guess it's not, I'm not saying anyone's a moron here or anything, but it's like, dude, you can find this information out at your own fingertips at any second for free with a couple of clicks. And I don't know why people would rely on the USDA to tell them what zone they are in and only update that every 11 years. Like, why would you wait for that? You could just pull it within the next 2 minutes. And so it's just funny. I don't know. Maybe I'm in a different field of work and I'm just used to that. And that's just part of my job. Or maybe people just don't realize it. So anyway, I'm going to show you. I'm going to teach you guys how to do this. You can pull this information for yourself. Don't rely on the federal government to tell you what zone you're in or you're not in. You can go pull this data yourself, guys. So first things first is go to National Weather Service. We should always be using NWS data. It's the only way we can all keep consistent data that we can all agree on. In the plant community, you start pulling your own data from your own backyard and, there's going to be debate there. There's going to be no corroboration there. People are going to question how you have your system configured and is it going to be configured to the NWS standard, yada, yada. So just, you can do that, but certainly when you talk on a palm thread or something, people aren't going to really respect your own backyard data. And I understand why. So let's all use NWS. And then what you're going to do, guys, is simply start by, actually, you don't even have to do that, right here. And I'm literally at weather.gov. Just type in NWS Yeah, weather.gov. Just type in National Weather Service and you're going to be driven to this page. This is their homepage. Then what you're going to do is hover over past weather, click on past weather, find your local office. They're all over the United States. My particular one is based out of Wilmington here in Cincinnati, and you're going to be driven to this screen. Now this screen, you can click on the map and it can show you all the different weather stations that's in that office. You have to be careful though. A lot of these outliers like are only taking like rain or temperature or something like that. So be careful which one you take. And I like to try to go with the most legitimate and like broad stroke. So Columbus and Cincinnati and Dayton are the three major cities in the Wilmington office. I just picked Cincinnati area. And this is where people start to get a little bit wonky, is they'll start clicking into all these to try to find the warmest one, right? Like, so don't do that. Because everybody always wants to say they're in a warmer climate than they are, right? That's just human nature. Oh, look at me, I'm zone 11A or whatever. So I try to go broad stroke. Certainly many of these are also in Cincinnati and around the tri-state area, but I just picked Cincinnati area. I don't know if this is only pulling CVG, which is our international airport here, or if this is pulling a conglomerate and a summarization of all the local Cincinnati ones. I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet. But at any rate, try to pick the biggest generic broad stroke one you can. So anyway, I'm going to pick Cincinnati area. And then what you do, guys, is click on monthly summarized data. Change your years to the past 3 years. Or I'm sorry, past 30 years, 1990 to 2020. And then select the variable here is going to be min temp and go with daily minimum. Click go. And this is giving you guys the lowest temperature right here under the annual column. This is literally giving you the coldest temperature of that year. So in 1990, the coldest temp was 5. 1991, the coldest temp was 2. 1992, the coldest temp was -4. So literally, this is legitimate data. No one can refute this. And then what you do, let me scroll down here, sorry. Excuse me here, is you look at the mean. So this is the average of all those 30 years. They added all these up and divided by 30, and it was -2. It was -2. So let's go back to the map. Let's scroll on in here to Cincinnati. Okay, and we got some light green all throughout here. So let's just click on Cincinnati. This is all the same here in the tri-state. And look at that. Plant hardiness zone 6B, which is 0 degrees to -5 degrees. And remember, what was the average here? -2. So that is corroborated. -2 falls into this category. So the point here is, don't just take the word of the USDA here. Go and pull the data, make sure that they're right, which they were. And then secondly is, like, you guys can pull your own data here. Like this, you saw how easy that was. It literally took me 30 seconds to do that. And by the way, the max low temperature that we had, which was in 2020, was 11 degrees. And the minimum temperature we had over that time was -24 degrees in 1994. That's absurd. I mean, that's a 35-degree difference. So it just goes to show you have no idea what's going to happen. -7 to 11. But at any rate, so you can play around with all this stuff in here. I would encourage anyone to use this data. And let's actually add in the next 2 years. And let's see what that pulled it to. That kept it at -11. I'm sorry, that kept it at -2, which is still 6B. Now, what I can show you is what I mean by this, by pulling in different areas, is there's some hot spots in here. And Cincinnati Municipal, is going to be one of those hot spots. So let's hit go here. This is at Lunken Field, which is a smaller airport here in Cincinnati, and it's actually in the city of Cincinnati, where CVG is not. And this is the older one before they built CVG. It sits in a little bit of a bowl, which I guess captures some of that heat, but this is a warmer area. So the 32-year average on that one is 0. It's 0. So that would actually classify that one as 7A. Let me actually go back to and just do 2020, since that's what the map has. And let me check out if that's still, that's 1. That's 1. So see what I'm saying? It was -2 in CVG, and it's 1 in Lunken. That's a difference of 3 degrees. So that's pretty significant. And this would have Lunken Airfield as a Zone 7A here in Cincinnati. And that is not on, see, Lunken is right about, Lunken is right out here. Yeah, Lunken's right here. This is where Lunken Airfield is, and they don't have it coded as 7A. But as you saw, the data supports that it was. So yeah, pretty interesting. So yeah, guys, you can come out here and pull your own data. You can go from the beginning of time. Let's do 2022. And I think if you type in POR here, you can go since the beginning of time. Let's see how, so this particular weather station only goes back to 1949. Let's see what the average is since 1949. -1 at Lunken. Now let's flip over to Cincinnati area. And this is going to go back to the 1800s, I bet. It's processing a lot of data here. Sorry, this video is getting a little bit long, but for whatever reason, this topic just grinds my gears. Yeah, this goes back to 1872. That's what? That's 7 years after the Civil War ended? Civil War ends in 1865, I believe. Any rate, let's see what the average annual temperature is since 1872 is -3. So a solid 6B here. Some areas in 7A. But yeah, so that's that. But definitely go out here, guys, and use this. And you can even look at other people's areas too, to pull in data as well. So don't take other people's words for it. Don't take the updated maps word for it. Like, just go and pull your own data. Okay, pull your own data, because it's out here and it's available. And then the second thing is reading some of these comments, guys, is just hilarious. And I'm not calling anybody out. In fact, I'll try to make it to where we can't see who they are. But like here, this guy, I'm on the border of 7B and 8A. Guess I would try those palmettos. Like, dude, like nothing changed. Nothing changed. I understand you're in North Carolina and you went from that zone to that zone, but nothing changed. Like, I'm a big sports guy, particularly college football, right? So, there's odds on the game, right? Michigan's favored by 3 over Ohio State, or Alabama's favored by 14.5 over Auburn. Well, like, none of those games were, ended in that exact point spread difference. So, like, the point is, like, the games aren't played on paper. They're played on grass with real players. Weather doesn't happen on paper or in computer systems. Weather happens in real life. And for the large part of the United States, you have no idea what your weather is going to be. You think you know, but you have no idea. Really, unless you're talking about like South Florida, you can pretty much guarantee what you're going to get there. Outside of that, you have no idea. So that guy that was talking right there, like, he's probably somewhere in here. I don't know, probably Charlotte or close to that. Like, cool, yeah, like, you got coded differently, but that doesn't change anything. You think the weather gives a crap about what zone you're in? No, the weather doesn't care. It's going to do its own thing, man. You got to look at what what has actually happened in your area over a long period of time, to be able to have a better example of that. And just because your zone change doesn't mean anything is going to be different. Like this person, just curious though, does this actually mean anything for plants, or is this just saying since I'm newly 8B that a plant may live but no guarantees at this very moment? Dude, facepalm emoji. No guarantees? Who is guaranteeing that? The United States Department of Agriculture? Yeah, it's, oh man. Some people get it, like this guy, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's interesting to see, but it's not gonna make really any difference. Yeah, it's crazy what people think, like just because your zone changes. Yeah, here we go. Yep, 7B here. Now I can grow palms like all the cool guys. Yeah, we talked about this before, and most winters have been tracking that way, except last winter. Yeah, all it takes is one. All it takes is one, guys. I mean, sure, you could be in zone 8 and, just randomly every 20 years you get a really, really huge cold spell, and you drop down to, 3 degrees or something like that. That could wipe out some of your things. Like, that's all it takes is one. So yeah, I mean, you just got to pay attention and don't go by all these zones, because it's not the end all be all. Now, I will say you can come down here and click on how to use these maps, and they do provide some good explanations of, here's some other things to consider: light, soil moisture, temperature, duration, exposure, humidity. Like, that's true. You have to look at all of those things, and this here is a really, really good description that, just because you're in such and such zone doesn't mean anything else can't happen. The weather does not care what zone you're in, and all it takes is one. So yeah, that's it. This video got way too long. I doubt anybody's gonna stick around for all this, but you just can't go by which zone you're in. There's so many other factors that go into it. Not only that, but anything can change at any time. So just because you're in zone XYZ, if you have a winter where an extreme low temperature is 10 degrees below that, you're in a whole zone, a zone less than that, but what was the difference? You know what I mean? Like, why would you, I don't know, it's tough. So at any rate, I'm gonna leave that there because now I'm just rambling, but yeah, I just thought it was interesting to talk about, and a huge topic of debate that I just don't think people really understand. Take care, everybody. Bye.